All right, everyone, we're recording a promo for Pro Teaches Noobs. Oh, what's a noob? Hey, you know who else is a noob? My mom! All right, everyone, just forget it, okay?
Hey guys, welcome to another lesson of Pro Teachers Noob. Today I have with me another new student with me joining us, Brit.
Hello, hello.
And today we're starting in memory of Peter David, going over his Supergirl run. Brit, how much do you know about Peter David, if at all?
So, like I told you before,
Mm-hmm.
with preparing for this, I
Mm-hmm.
just looked up, some of his writing and just a little bit of biography.
Mm-hmm.
Some of I don't really like Wikipedia, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what they have.
Right.
Try to see if DC had something written up for him. But
Mm-hmm.
I saw that he did do Young Justice. I was
Yep.
like, oh, okay.
The majority of the writing, he didn't create the concept, but he is the one who wrote most of it.
He did do a lot of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
believe it
yeah.
was Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
and of course Supergirl, Aquaman.
Aquaman, he gave us the hook hand.
Yes. So that's pretty much the basics of what I know. I don't know much
Mm-hmm.
of him, and you know, as I do with all my research, it's when a writer is interesting, I do want to do a deep dive. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to do more of a deep dive
Right.
about him
Well,
later on.
what a good start here then, because his characterization, his humor, his introspective is so interesting. I mean, just to give you a general overview of if you were to pick a genre for his Supergirl run, one would think it would be sci-fi, but it's not. It's more like grounded fantasy and religious subtext.
Oh,
He
that's
really goes into the
interesting.
religious side of things because, spoiler alert, but this is something that is known if you ever heard about this run. Eventually, it's revealed that Matrix becomes a Earthborn angel.
Well, of course, being a Wonder Woman fan,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the clay origin,
Yeah.
and the biblical subtext of that
Mm-hmm.
being that she is, made of earth soil. And in, the first book,
Mm-hmm.
Adam is and breathed life
Yep.
into, by God. Diana was breathed life into by the goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do love that when
We won't get to that
writers
for a while, though. We won't
can,
get to that for a while, just to let you know. Not in this one, but not for a while.
right, I do love that spiritual connection that writers
Mm-hmm.
can give
Yeah.
the characters.
I mean, JMS did that with Babylon 5. You know, the funny thing about JMS is he writes the most spiritual, religious type of writing, but he's an atheist. He is a heart-blown atheist. But what I like about him, and this is what writers should do, they don't let their personal viewpoints taint writing a character. Like, unless you really want the character to be a stereotype for the sake of the story, that's fine. But don't treat all opposing sides to your views to be the straw man like Tom Taylor sometimes does.
Right.
Because yeah, because that's the thing though, it's JMS. He wrote when you wouldn't think the man was an atheist the way he writes stuff because he looks at it as I'm writing characters. These characters are religious, and I'm going to be respectful to that. And Peter David's the same way in many regards. And now, just to make this clear for anyone else who doesn't know, and I told Brit about this before we start, this is the not the Superman's cousin Supergirl. For those of you who don't know, i.e., the noobs, this is the Matrix Supergirl, the protoplasmic version that came from another world. This is the one that you might have known was in a relationship with Lex Luthor and all that. Well, Lex in his posing as his son and everything. That's long gone. That we're long past that by this point. But yeah, this is the one. She's not from Krypton. She's not related. She has a history with a connection with Superman and Ma and Pa, but otherwise, she's her own thing.
Very interesting.
Yep. But yeah, so we're starting first with this little short story that was in Showcase 96. And last time we'll actually see her at fully as Matrix without another character we'll see. I wonder what it's like to be born and to die and the thread that holds it all together. So obviously fragile at the beginning. It doesn't grow any stronger as life goes on. It just gets hidden by years of kidding yourself into thinking you're exempt from a human death, like I am. Oh, yep.
That
And, yep.
that honestly sounds very poetic, but in a very depressing
Oh,
manner.
yeah. In retrospect with Peter, yeah. Don't look so sad, Supergirl. Premature and a breach. If it weren't for you, we probably have lost both mother and daughter. I know. I just never mind. Unfortunately, you're not really allowed in here. I'll have to ask you to leave. Besides, you look like you use some rest. All right. Now here's the other thing. She can make herself. This is her at the peak of her abilities, which she'll lose a lot in her ongoing. She can go intangible, invisible, shapeshift into multiple things, and shapeshift her clothes so much. Like I said, she's gonna lose a lot of that. But basically, we're seeing Supergirl's at this hospital. There was this big snowfall, this big storm and everything. Now, by this point, storm's over. We see this one newswoman wants to ask her a question about this hurricane. Like, how many lives did you save? If Supergirl, should I keep filling? Then what, Rory? Her back? Forget it. Christ, why can't they all be like Superboy? He never met a camera he didn't like. And then she sees this man who had, who had died. So again, she's thinking about this whole life and death. Of course, I love this. Nope, not seeing it. Not seeing it. I love this. And this is the Dodson's artwork. And look at this. And they're like, nope, not seeing it. Not seeing it.
And this is Terry Dotson's work?
Terry and Rachel Dot. No, just Terry. His wife Rachel isn't inking this, but yeah.
Wow. The evolution of art, is it changed. I did not know that was I couldn't tell with the like I said, the change from early to current.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell, like the face. You could definitely tell that is a Dodson face.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, like you're so used to the cheesecakeness of it all, and
yeah.
Yeah. But doesn't call for it. Of course, yeah. Meets up with the reporter, and I just love like I don't know why any of you super types do it because it's obvious. I mean, if you saw a truck burning down and bearing down a child, would you stand there and let it happen? Standing reporter saves child. Hell of a story. Yeah, I'd go for it. You do it because it's a hell of a story. Amazing. Well, it would be. My typical day consists of finding great news stories. What's a typical day in your life? Mine. So we find out here's one of the people she saved, the mother of the baby. Basically, woman is pregnant, gone into labor, husband out of town, storm's picking up. She has no one there to be with, so she risked driving to the hospital. I know, big risk, and unfortunately, nearly goes off the road because of a contraction.
That is very soap opera.
Soap opera, but
very 80s, 90s type move where a car falls off a cliff.
But she's there to save her and all that. And of course, takes her there to stop. She sees that someone else had crashed, but she thought, I gotta go and save him. She did first save this girl first. Obviously, she saved him from getting pulverized by the pole, but obviously got to get this woman to the hospital first. And as we found out earlier, of course, she could have died if Supergirl didn't get her in time. So she gets there, flies back, and finds out it was a pastor or a priest, and he died in that crash. So now she is just so torn. Like this whole, I can decide who lives and dies. Like Superman grew up into this mindset. It still eats at him, but he's learned to kind of find a balance. Supergirl, like I read it, Supergirl technically is only a couple of years old. Like as in literally. Physically, she's an adult. Mentally, she isn't. She can be a bit of a grown woman, but she's still fumbling around. So a moment
Right.
like this, giving her this existential crisis, I just love that. And yeah. And again, I just also love how like, yeah, I know, superhero, as amateur philosopher. Still, I've met a couple of her type, and there's something different about her. I wouldn't say she's searching for answers as much as she's trying to figure out what the questions are. And she checks in to see her, and she's asleep. Yeah. So, how is now? Like I said, this is the last we'll see of her as fully Matrix, no interference, no alterations. What do you think of her character having these type of thoughts and this mindset?
So I like when characters have complexity. I don't
Hmm.
like it when writers take the easy way out and try to
Oh
give
yeah,
these characters the black and white type view. The fish out of water type thing is all right for like their first 2 years of
yeah,
being, heroes.
Max.
But after that, yeah, they do learn that it's difficult and
Yeah,
it
some can
is
hold on to it though. Like Batman holding on to his no kill policy makes sense. If people have said deep down you trim it all away, Batman's just a young boy, little boy who doesn't want to see anyone else die. Perfect
right,
explanation. But yeah, I get what you mean. No, I get what you mean. Some
right.
characters, yeah, should get past it.
But Superman and Wonder Woman, I think that those two they're the ones that you can really have these complex stories with.
Hmm.
Supergirl as well, because they are the in-betweeners of
Yeah.
the mortal world and this like godly type figures. So
Hmm.
they have to go through this pretty much ongoing journey of finding their place and never finding it, because it's an
Yeah.
ongoing story. But when they have to make the decisions, and this was something that actually in Wonder Woman 800,
Hmm.
where we actually saw that Superman has like these uh, questions about, who does he save,
Oh, he's always
who,
had that. Yeah, that's
you know,
always been it. Yeah.
um, but sometimes it's kind of like Mark Waid, he's like, Superman can never mess up. He can never like do things and I'm just like, no,
Mhm.
no, no,
To
no.
be prepared, to be fair, and that was one thing why I didn't like how he handled Wonder Woman in that last days of Lex Luthor. She does
Yes,
come around saying, "You told us. You've always told us we cannot always make sure, we can't save everyone," which has always been a thing. It's like, who do I save? And even Mark does go by that to a point. He doesn't dwell on it like I think some creators do.
right. And there's just like you said, you have to have a balance with these characters,
Hmm.
but at the same time, go big and
Oh yeah.
do I mean take risk and have these, but
Hmm.
don't take too much of a risk where you get them out of character.
Oh
But
yeah.
like I said, these characters, especially Superman and Wonder Woman and Supergirl,
Hmm.
even I say Green Lantern,
Oh
you
boy,
can
yeah.
put these characters in a very complex situation, spiritually challenging them and morally, and also just that mental and emotional
Hmm.
challenge. These are the characters that you definitely have that opportunity to do. Batman, as you said, he is still that 8-year-old or 10-year-old little boy that's stuck in the alley,
Yep.
um, and still mourning his parents. And I mean, that's pretty much why he has so many Robins because
Oh
he's
yeah, he
trying
wants
to,
brothers. He wants sisters.
he wants that, and to also protect those children of that age that
Yeah, where
has gone
he
through
lost it. Yeah,
the tragedy oh, excuse me,
that's
tragedies.
right. Yeah.
So
Now I will say
yeah,
this though, but there is one other thing. Sometimes you want to tell a story. Like I don't know if you saw me and Jared going over the story Camelot Falls by Kurt Busiek. That's one where it tells a good story, but it's a story where you're already knowing the ending because it's an ongoing series, which was basically the whole Superman is told if you and the other heroes keep saving the world, the more you push on, these crises, the harder they're going to come back. And eventually it's going to reach a point where you're going to wipe out. And that's just saying, you got to stop saving the world, which you're like, does you keep going on and try to save the world, knowing things are going to get worse because of your actions? Or do you stop and just let things happen as it is? And it's a case where you're like, good question. But it's obvious what the answer is. Otherwise, we're going to end the book right here.
Right. So yeah, it's just a lot of the
So yeah, I'm going to say some stories, good question to ask, but not in the right format, not in the right series, especially doing it in the main continuity.
right.
But again, you
Well,
wouldn't even want to see that, though. You wouldn't want to see someone just give up and let people die.
right. Main continuity is very limiting, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Big time.
it's especially with events, that they always have the whole tagline of this event or this
Will
new
never be
run.
the same
Yeah,
again.
but yet you put the genie back in the bottle all the time. Right after, I would say, after a run, give it
Mm-hmm.
like 6 issues, and things are starting to revert back to the way it was.
To be
So,
fair, though, that's in a retrospective hindsight. When you're at, you say 60 issues. That's a long number of years in comic book time, unless they were weekly or twice monthly or anything. So you got to take that into account. There's always that thing of, oh, it could last a long time from that moment, but then you look back and you're like, not much time passed at all.
yeah, I still have no idea what and I guess that's what Mark Waid is supposed to achieve. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, very ambitious and very
Oh
uh,
yeah.
it's still going to be very confusing with the new DC history, but
Mm-hmm.
with the way continuity is right now, yeah, there's no way to really
You
have
gotta spell it
the
out. You gotta spell it out.
yeah, the way time is, because if you have like Jonathan Kent being a 20-year-old, and then
Mm-hmm.
writers want Clark to still be 38.
Oh,
That you can't,
or
that
Bruce
whole thing.
even
Yeah, Bruce, um,
having a Damian B 14, 15, whatever he is.
yeah, that just does not work. So even if you have the whole thing of it's one timeline and all of these events have happened to this one iteration of the character, I mean that's a lot. And to
Mm-hmm.
reduce 80 years to just one iteration, honestly, to me that is it's kind of like an insult to individual era fans, you
To a
know.
point, I would say to a point, but then there's also a case of like something you just want to drop. Wonder Woman punching her mother at all. Something you
I
just
mean,
want to
yeah,
get rid of. And there's other things that do. It's like there's no reconciling them. Like unless you want to find a way to combine them, the clay origin and the god origin or the Zeus origin are irreconcilable
right.
unless you can find, if you can figure out a way. So it's a case where it's like it's trying. There's some things you can't, and for many some people don't mind losing a lot of that stuff, especially with DC being known for that.
Yeah,
But
true.
yeah, but anyway, so for a lot of these issues we'll be covering, this is when Gary Frank is on the book. And just
Okay.
to brace yourself, this does get a little intense with this first page. I don't know which wound to clean first. Gashes all over, legs, arms, forehead, and the soap stings like hot needles. And I'm not sure how I got this way. Who cut me up? Who did this to me? Who? Who am I? God, if you're there, help me. How how odd the bathe and the praying, both of them seem odd. And maybe I'm an atheist or something, but who doesn't feel pain? Ugh. Like, who the heck is that? No, wait, I know her name. I know her. Her name is Maddie? Linda? Linda. Linda. Danvers, that's it. Linda, you're alive. Everyone was saying you were dead. Everybody. I can't believe it. Look at you. Everything you went through, and there's not a mark on you. Not a. What? How? How's that possible? You got to tell me everything that Yuck. What's that? Basically, that's the protoplasmic stuff of the scars just came right off, but it happened on autopilot. She's not even aware she did it at this moment.
Wow. I want to
Yep.
say that Gary Frank's art is very, as I said with Terry Dodson, it's you can tell by the faces, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
the color, it has to do with the coloring and the inking
Oh
because
yeah,
now with Gary Frank's art, it's so kind of like scratchy
detailed. Oh, scratchy,
and
detailed. Yeah,
detailed, but also trying to like emulate,
actors.
act, yes. And here I would say that I like this better, and it might be because of the coloring and the inking.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer this Gary Frank art than the current art.
I enjoyed both because I look at him as different, but I get what you mean. And you should have seen him during his Hulk run. He was because he's worked with Peter before on that.
Oh,
Yeah. Like Linda, what's this pink crapola clogging your drain? Linda, what am I speaking in tongue here? I need answers. I was empty. Oh, and that pretty much covers it. Honey, you were kidnapped. The papers talked about all kinds of things, Satanism, and I don't know what. And the warehouse burned, and they found the charred remains of your ID. Linda, say something. Uh, I I remember these jeans because yeah, she goes in the burn hole. Buzz, he burned a hole in them. He hurt me, you creep. You did that on purpose. Everything's on purpose, love. There's no accident. Yeah, how do you explain your parents making you? Fate, love. Fate. Creepola, creepy crud. I was angry, so angry at him and myself equally. I think. Then the hands grabbed me. I felt hot breath on my neck and heard a laugh that sounded like a sucking chest wound. So yeah, we saw she got grabbed. They were right. People just cult ready to use a sacrifice her, and Buzz is at the center of it. Linda, when I say something, that's your cue to talk, not zone out for 30 seconds. Linda, since when are your eyes blue? I was empty and I needed to learn. What? Maddie? Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, thank God. I thought it was just me. I see what I mean about the humor.
yes.
Simple humor.
This first couple of pages, it is very intense. You start off
Mm-hmm.
with a bloody S.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then, but as she's going through, and just that a lot of writers don't know how to stick the landing between intensity and humor. But here
Yep.
it is flowing very nicely.
Yep. And I just love that. Like, oh gosh, I thought it was just me. And all those arguments we had, all the bad feelings, considered it forgotten, Linda. That's easy enough. You gotta call your folks. Your mom's been nuts with worry, and your dad's practically vegged out. Out? And I remember. Oh, we find out her father, abusive, controlling, not a monster though. I want to make this clear. We'll find out it's one of those complicated situations, you know what I mean? Where we'll start to see he is a good man deep down, but Linda didn't make it easy. He had a hot temper. You get what I mean, right?
Yes, I mean, having those type of it's a fine line
Oh
with
yeah,
those certain characters when you want to write about abuse, and especially you don't want to be forgiving too
no,
easily, but you want to make sure that you don't glorify it. And also,
no,
yeah, like as you said, he might be a good man deep down, and that's the thing that some people like gloss over. It's like, oh,
oh yeah.
you're good, but yet you're still being abusive. So
Or
that
they treat
it's
it
a
like it's a cover, like, oh, that good is fake.
right. So it's a very fine line with it. So um I trust Peter David
Mm-hmm.
to
Oh yeah,
so far that he could, tackle this
yep. And I can
character
make it
and
clear. We'll
situation.
find out. Linda, there's gonna be some big revelation of Linda, but at the moment, yeah, first you're gonna think she's this innocent girl, and I'll give you the heads up. She ain't. She is not a good person.
Very
But
much a twist.
yeah, I won't say how, but I'm just
Hmm.
giving you that heads up. So her father's actions, I'm not saying Linda brought it on herself. I'm not saying that at all. But at the same time, her attitude, like what we're seeing is selective. As in, yes, Supergirl is remembering this, but she's only remembering stuff that's putting Linda in a sympathetic light at the moment. But eventually she's going to find out, oh Lord, who was this woman?
Oh yeah, this
But
is
by the time she
definitely
finds that out, though, that's not going to be for a number of issues. So we're going to be thinking Linda's this sweetheart, and then when it comes, you're like, oh shit, we have not been following a good person at all.
this is
I miss writing like that.
definitely a thriller movie type. It's set up.
Yeah, exactly. And I miss writing like that, where you would have twists and turns. Nowadays, they have to spell it out because the writer doesn't know how long they're going to be on the book.
That or they just aren't creative enough to stick the landing. So they don't
Hmm.
even have that confidence within themselves. So they just go with a straightforward. Even if they try to do a twist, it's so anticlimactic.
Yep.
So it
Or
just
rushed.
doesn't
Yeah.
right. It doesn't give you that investment as a fan.
Yep. Like, for example, this guy is about to commit suicide, and just on impulse. Now, remember, at this moment, she doesn't remember herself as Supergirl, and she's barely remembering herself as Linda. So here's the point where, and this connects back to before, what would you do if someone's about to get harmed? Well, she does on impulse and doesn't realize, like, what? I love that. Who was that? The Flash? No, it was an angel. And then she's like, I'm not out of breath. I'm not tired. I'm I'm not human. When am I? Yes, yes, I realize now that's the question. It's what was prying on my mind. Mind? Mind? I am human. That was the point. My name is Linda Danvers. I have parents who love or hate me. I think I have a friend named Maddie Harcourt. I think I have a life so close I can taste it. So she said, Nick, I need information. So it goes to the Tribune. And of course, again, just not even thinking about it. It's like, hey, can I have a look? Watch it, kiddo. That weighs a ton. Like, Supergirl, fear dead. Supergirl. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Cutter. What you staring at? Wait a minute. You're her. You're Linda Danvers. They think you're dead. Who are you? Cutter Sharp, your new best friend. Bug off. Please don't leave. I'm begging you. You're a terrific story. I'm on my knees here. Please don't leave me. You're a reporter? This isn't how a reporter behaves. If I were any good, you think I'd be working here? Yep. Then we see Buzz, and we find out, yeah, Buzz works for some pretty nasty folks. Yeah, demonic stuff, of course. But oh yeah. So you got amnesia. That's the deal. I don't think I do. Remember my name, piece of my life, but it's like I'm seeing it from a distance, like I'm really somebody else. Don't say a word, May. Keep it to yourself. Understand? Don't say a word. So she's getting memories of Clark, but it's again out of context. Like, I don't even know what this moment is that she's referencing. Uh,
Is that
yep, that's
is
Clark.
that
Yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say she's in movies, they do, and I guess that is a little bit hard to convey it in still, comic books.
right.
But in movies, they do try to have like these flashes or
Mhm. Hallucinations, all that.
hallucinations. So I think this is what it's trying to convey here. And
Oh
so
yeah,
it's kind of like a her mind is shattered somewhere else.
yep,
So yeah,
exactly.
that is what this trying to convey, and you can kind of tell. That's what I'm saying. The artwork, classic
Oh yeah,
artwork, really knows how to convey these sort of things. Even if you don't really know, it still puts you in the mindset of like, I love movies, so I can
oh yeah.
definitely get into this and understand what's, like I said, trying to be conveyed.
Like the
Um,
coloring here. Look at the coloring. It makes it very clear this is a hallucination.
yes,
In a way, this is her remembering Superman telling her something, and it's telling the Matrix side of her, "Don't say you're Supergirl," without saying that.
right. So, well, thank you. You
Yep.
was saying telepath.
Sorry.
It gave me that. It. I was looking for a word, and it was her conscience. That's what it's
Yes, her
trying to convey.
conscience. That's what
And
Clark is.
yeah. So this is very interesting. Like I'm really into it.
Yep. Are you okay? Look like you saw a ghost. I'm fine. You were saying nothing. Can you help me fill in the blanks? Well, your name's Linda Danvers. So if your name tag's in your underwear, it's yours. You earn money from us from sculptures you sell at local craft fairs. Dropped out of college halfway. Gonna find out why. According to your mom, the only thing that had any real meaning in her life was Supergirl. Supergirl? Supergirl? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just admiring the statue Linda made. It's lovely. Linda thought, Sinks, you're wonderful. She said she could relate to you. The way you use your powers to do the best job you could do. Heck, even your, no offense, your poor taste in men. No offense taken, Mrs. Danvers. I hear that a lot. So I understand when I did the TV appeal asking for your help. Well, I'm a spiritual woman, Supergirl. Things happen for a reason, and God meant for you to make it a fool of yourself, Sylvia. Fred, you promised. For crying out loud, Sylvia, you're talking spirituality to someone who's not even human, right? What are you, an alien, a clone, some shape-changing soulless blob of protoplasm? Mr. Danvers, you know nothing about me. I'm here to help, so please stop trying to hurt me. I'm sorry. Please, please don't let them kill her. I won't. I swear. I'm sorry, Cutter. My head was in the clouds. What were you saying? I was saying that according to your parents, Supergirl pitched in looking for you. See, there was this bizarre cult operating here in Leesburg. Police hadn't been able to nail them, but it was believed that they were already responsible for several deaths, including some grisly beheadings. You were believed to be their latest victim when your beat up van was found in the woods, the cult symbol scribbled all over it. A couple of days later, there was a big fire in the warehouse. They find French fried cultist, Supergirl's costume, no you. Police have her outfit. There's a press conference in half an hour, and hey, what's wrong? Get away. Is it the flame from the lighter? That spook you? I said get away! Whoa! Cutter, what the heck are you? Buddy better, buddy. A girl who will scare my mom. I'm getting the wedding invites printed up this afternoon. What I like about him is he's normal, but he's not a creep either. I like that. Even a statement like that, it's a case where you're like, this guy's just desperate for something good in his life, even if it's a woman that could scare his mom.
Right. We need more. If you want to have civilian type characters, and then at that time, that is when it was so rich to
Mm-hmm.
bring in new characters. And like I said, as a Wonder Woman fan, I love Julia and Vanessa
Mm-hmm.
from Perez. So
Yep.
with that building, um, I am loving these civilian characters already. But
Mm-hmm.
as I said, with now comparing this to current, yeah, the talent is pale
Now,
in comparison.
I think like Williamson or Adams could write something like this, but I know what you mean though. Some wouldn't.
Williamson, I would say Williamson, he drops um new characters and then kind of like lets them go. It's
True.
kind of like Marilyn Moonlight. You know, he uses
Huh?
her on occasions. It was like she had this big build up as her love her design and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but she isn't used properly. Like she's used as in like a
I get
shock
what you're
value
saying.
type thing. So that's what I'm saying is that these current writers, they give
Yeah.
us new characters, but we can barely invest in them.
Some,
You
I'll be honest though, even back then, you sometimes did have moments like that. Sometimes a writer would get lost in what they're currently writing, forget what they set up until they eventually brought them in. That's something that hasn't changed at all, to be fair. I'm just saying
but
this from my own experience. What happened there was that character, that's average. I mean, look at Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. There was so much stuff. I've been going over that with Pika. There is so much stuff that I realized, wow, he dropped a lot of stuff that I didn't. You have to realize when you look back on it. Like there was so much setup stuff, like having Hector Hammond suddenly be able to talk. Never did anything with it. It's like, and what was the point?
well, yeah, as a writer, and I do this with fanfic
Mm-hmm.
fictions all the time. You have this idea. I mean, there's tons of ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and you get going with it, and sometimes you think of a beginning and an end, and I
Mm-hmm.
do this all the time, and it's like that middle part, the to
Mm-hmm.
get to the
Yeah.
end from the beginning, it is difficult to fill in. But that is where you have to have your mind like
Oh yeah.
really think, is this character basically going to be in my ending? Is this character
Exactly.
going to really impact the character's development?
But
So
here's,
that
I
is
mean, may I make one argument? I don't,
Mhm.
is that, but you got to remember this. When you're writing fan fiction, you have almost all the time in the world unless you self-impose a deadline on you. When you're doing
Right.
comics, you're doing it weekly. You got to make sure that each issue can be self-contained, unless you're being Bendis, where it's a you know, multiple arcs, you know, issues to tell just one story and all that. So it's that case of, if you're doing it monthly on a deadline, and again, self-contained stuff, it's easy to lose stuff in the shuffle. It is very easy to lose stuff in the shuffle, and sometimes come up with a new plot point and get away from the old stuff. It's very easy to lose it.
I mean, that is why you have overviews and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you
Oh yeah, that's
create
why I love
those.
the triangle number of Superman. They plotted it all out.
Yeah, that is so much easier, even with writing fan fictions. At some point, you do need to have that because there are, I would say that you do have a deadline because you
Oh yeah.
have these, other fans that are invested. Jared can
Mm-hmm. True.
attest to that
True.
a lot for me. So I would say that it is the same thing. But again, if you, whether you are writing fanfics or you are a professional writer, you still want, you know, your readers to invest in your story and the characters
That's
that
true.
you either create or are the characters we um that we love.
Exactly. But yeah, anyway, as we see then now, we're seeing Supergirl coming to save Linda. The demon's about to be summoned. And Linda gets slashed, dagger right in her gut by Buzz. But Supergirl, using she had her own telekinesis. Again, she'll be losing that to shatter the dagger, stopping it all, preventing things from happening. But unfortunately, Linda is dying, and she's like, screwed up everything. Not fair, not ready to die. All the people I've known, loved, they hurtle through my mind, and they all say, accept it. You did your best. You could do no more. And this is what we find out. The two merged. The two Supergirl and her, have become one. Which, to be fair, Linda Danvers, that's a skewness on her old name of Linda Lee from the pre-crisis.
Oh goodness.
Again, he's taking something old but modernizing it, but reworking
Hmm.
it. So it's like Linda Danvers. So yeah, now they are neither Supergirl nor Linda. And at the moment, it's mostly Supergirl with Linda's memories. But as it goes on, Linda starts to crawl back up.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just the start of it. And I love this. We are one. My morphing body somehow joined with that of Linda Danvers. I've given her life, and she has given me hope. And may have God have mercy on my soul. And that's just the first issue. But yeah, then we see again, she's starting to try and piece things back together. I remember the moment as from a distance. I think of it now and it appalls me. But at the same time, my skin and tingles with ghostly sensation of passion, separating my memories, my personality from Linda Danvers. It's like trying to separate yolk from egg white in an omelet. My protomatter bonded with her dying body. It didn't keep her alive, but it gave me her life. And still, there are fragments missing. And I was hoping that by searching our possessions, I'd get a feeling for. Wait a minute! The guy in the picture whose cigarette breath I can taste in my mouth, whose fingers caress the curve of my spine. It's the same guy who knifed her. Who knifed Linda? And Linda, you there? Maddie, get your key. Get us in there. And if this is some sort of joke, a joke, get real. Linda, it's Dad, Mom and Dad. What? And that noise from the closet. Fred, and call the police. It could be one of the cultists. If it was, I want to wring his neck personally. Dad, Mom, hi, Linda, baby, darling. This is a gift from God. Supergirl said she'd save you, and I was so rude to her, but she did it. Yeah, yeah, Supergirl did. Uh-oh, costume sticking out. But why were you there in the closet? Oh, I heard a noise at the door and it kind of spooked me. It's what you've been through? I can't say I'm surprised. We thought you'd have been killed. Give me 5 minutes to change and then we'll get caught up. No rush, honey. Now that we have you back, I want to spend all the time in the world together. Mwah! Kiss, kiss. Sheesh. I thought when I morphed into Linda's form, the costume would change with me. but it didn't. I've got some major kinks to work out with this situation. I can't morph clothes. I merged with a murder victim, and now I've got parents. Definitely new territory. See what I mean about the dialogue here?
Yes, it's very natural. I honestly feel like this is just a movie, you know, a
Yeah,
coming, not so much as a coming of age, because of course she's an adult, but it
right.
it does go into that sort of territory of,
Self-discovery.
yes, very much so. And it's so far it is flowing nicely.
It is outstanding. All the flower shows and two-bit school board meetings I covered, they're worth it for a solid kick butt article like this one. This bit with Linda and the cult is the biggest. Huh? Ah, jeez. Ah, jeez. That's and the cult symbol. And they just grabbed some kid. Cripes. There's never a cop when you need one. Uh-oh. Dad, you're being paranoid. I'm fine, I swear. Honey, you said your mind is a blank about what happened in that warehouse. You might have a concussion. You might have anything. Or maybe I don't want to remember. Isn't that possible? What's wrong with being sure? Dr. Winters is at the hospital, ready to check you over, head to toe. For the last time, Dad, for the last time, I'm. Honey, is something wrong? Don't you see it? How can you not see it? Fred, you're right. She's obviously hallucinating about something. I'll get her bundle up. You get the car started. Damn you, Buzz. What are you playing at? I remain outside your plate. You said her blood was the final ingredient needed to help me traverse the distance, you said. I know what I said. She was the right person, but at the wrong time. Unexpected meta-human interference. Walking a chaos line is a delicate balance. And Chakat, not even I see all the threads until they're woven. I'm tired of you. Wait, did you hear that? They draw closer. I must hide. Hurry, blast you, hurry! Road contact. Guess something came up. Company's arrived. And yeah, seeing Cutter following them, showing that, yeah, he's a good guy. Trying to help out, even though it's like he's doing it for the story, kind of like the other reporter. But at the same time, you're like, dude, you're getting in over your head. Kind of like Lois.
Right.
I had to make the comparison.
And it is a very apt, you know, comparison.
Yep. Not saying that there's going to be anything between Supergirl and Cutter. No, no. Just it's obvious to make a parallel because you want someone who, yes, doing the story, but then when you want them to still be involved with the actual in story.
Right.
So yeah, of course, yeah, meets up and saying, like, aside from the change of her eye color, which can be ascribed to stress. Okay, that's a little BS. She's perfect. Too perfect. There's no sign of concussion. However, there's also no scar from the appendix surgery that she had 4 years ago. No sign of that gunshot wound from in last year when she was mugged. It's either her brilliant plastic surgery or I don't know what. They're Linda's. They're my parents. And I feel like I love them in a way I haven't before. But they also seem like strangers. My mind is splintered. Some memories too. Need help, love? You're not here. How many of us truly are here? You're having problems sorting things out. Who is Linda Danvers, right? Allow me to help you recall. Well, love, what do you think? Was it everything I promised? What a rush it was. Let's immortalize the moment on film, shall we? Remember, Humbert, keep the angle up on this time. Right ho, sir. Did that seed help you? You have no secrets from me, my dear. I know you to your core. I know your deepest wishes, your darkest secrets. I know that you wanted a soul, Supergirl, and now you have one. And it's a damned one, blackened and stained with the blood of innocence. It can't be. It has to be a trick, except it's not. I feel it as my mind comes together and blows apart at the same time. Linda was no victim, not at first. She was part of it, an accomplice, a willing witness. She was evil. See what I mean? The big
Wow.
twist.
That I first I love this page because
Mhm.
it shows the obviously the two identities and it's giving very much a mystery cover. It
Mhm.
gives that thriller, noir,
Yeah. And
uh,
that slasher smile on
slash
Linda.
definitely a slasher type feel to it. Yes.
Yep. But yeah, that big smile. But yeah. All right, Linda. There's a couple more tests I want to get, Get out of my head. Funny how things work out, isn't it? I was drawn to you over a year ago, Linda, knowing you'd be important, but I didn't know how important. Seducing you as Linda to the Chaos Cult was simple fun, but seducing you as Supergirl will be the true challenge. It's your fault Linda wasn't in control. She most certainly was, as much as you are now. Come to me, darling. Come to me. I hear him, see him. So obviously they're ready to cut her as a new sacrifice. But flies in there and like unpunished for what they've done, for what they are. None of them will go unpunished this time. Well, and this time will be the last time. Oh my God. I love chaos. It's so chaotic. Hold still, little gnat. Considering that your stubborn refusal to die interfered with my earlier attempt at crossing, it's only appropriate that your blood be the first to spill upon my arrival. You're not here yet, Chakat. And if I'm too late to stop the spell that brought you through, then I'll just have to stop you personally. So Doc tosses him in there and a realm that stinks of distant, burning meat. And then suddenly I'm airborne, but not from my own power. He shakes me like a cat worrying a mouse. A side blast and pries his mouth open. But he seems only momentarily phased, slightly more cautious, but still confident at his knife descends. Keep the hell off my planet! Your planet, child. Your planet's already been invaded. It has been for centuries. My people merely await my arrival, trying to stay one step ahead of our ancient foes during that time. Likewise, for centuries, I've been on the run, hunted, hounded, always hounded. Thanks to Buzz and to you, my time is nearly here. I'll tear the living heart out of what once did not truly live and feast upon it. That way, gain the final power I need for total conquest. This time, sharing the knife is too late to. Ah! Droplets of Chakat's blood spatters along the path as the blade sails miles, and perhaps to accomplish nothing or everything. Officers, thank heavens you come! I heard screams from inside. I think they're trying to kill some poor man. It's insanity. What's the world coming to? Thanks for calling us, sir. We'll take it from here. I feel so served and protected. Jeez! In other words, he was using the cult and the demon.
Wow.
My strongest punch only knocks him back about 10 yards, and he landed on his blasted feet. What do you hope to gain in this battle? You must know you cannot defeat. Very well. I'll satisfy your curiosity, but you'll suffer the appropriate consequences. You said you've been hounded, and I took the guess that you meant it literally by sending your blood flying around. She put us on your scent. You gave us a good hunt, Chakat. Centuries worth of quest, but it ends here. They're dogs. No, Supergirl, save me. A couple of months ago, there was a movie called The Truth About Cats and Dogs. I didn't see it, but somehow I doubt it nailed the real truth. That apparently what we see on our world is merely the tip of an iceberg, barely hinting at a war that crosses realities. A war in which one side has had a fairly bloody setback this day. And for me, I'd love to believe Buzz was lying about Linda, but deep down in my soul, I sense its truth. He didn't manufacture the darkness in Linda. He merely exploited it. Linda was a horrible, twisted person. God knows what atrocities she committed, and she'd be dead if I hadn't saved her. But maybe, somehow she was chosen to be saved for some higher purpose, and I was chosen to be the instrument of that salvation. I'm bonded with her. Her essence, her consciousness is a part of me. If there is some greater plan, I cannot rest until I find out what it is. Which is basically, that's what the whole point is. Through bonding with Supergirl, Linda will be redeemed.
I really like this, and I also like that he has the monologues. You
Mm-hmm.
know, with when you're trying to tell a story,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you want that first person perspective in with the throughout the story, please let it be the protagonist, not
Mm-hmm.
a secondary character like Tom King
Mm-hmm.
had Sovereign. That really takes you out. It made it seem like Diana is very much just a plot device and just
Yeah.
a moving set piece. Here is used very well that you are
She's a narrator.
actually Yes, she is the narrator of her own story, and that is how
Yep.
you invest in the character.
Now, this makes it clear. This here is a tie-in to the events of Final Night. That's when a alien thing called the Sun Eater consumed the sun. This is the story where Hal Jordan as Parallax sacrificed his life to
Hmm.
reignite the sun. So here, sun vanished and everything. So that already happened. So we're getting a tie-in that's having this reaction. And obviously, people are freaking out. Wouldn't you if just the sun went out and it's just total darkness? I mean, I
Yeah,
know I would.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm already, tripping out on the weather that we're having. Is one minute
Yeah.
is hot as all outdoors, and the next is raining and hailing. So,
Yep. But imagine having all that, but without even the remoteness of a sun out there. Maybe the moon if you're lucky, but when the moon's on the other side of the world and it's supposed to be daylight.
right,
Yep. People of Leesburg, please, everything that can be done is being done. I suggest we don't want suggestions, we want the sun. If I could reignite, I would. Just have faith let go. This isn't accomplishing anything. Easy for you to talk about face. You super types can just fly off to other worlds. Leave us all to die. They won't do that. She's right. We have to. She's just another rat deserting a sinking ship. I don't need this grief. Best thing is to turn invisible and what the? I'm still visible. Like hell, I see right through you. That was stupid. I was so distracted I didn't have my guard up. But now it is, and now I can. Oh, devil, take it. Back away, whoever you people are beating on. That's Linda's father. He's a cop. Back away from them, right now. Supergirl, you people who are clocking Supergirl, I'll do more than that, cop. Back off or I'll break her freaking neck. I swear I will. It's about 2 minutes before I return. What's she doing up there? The police haven't budged from that spot. So, no hard feelings? Good. I ask, is this town exactly what I promised? It's typical human, Buzz. That makes it more than you promised, or less. Believe in this town and in its future. Regrettably, Chakat won't be sharing it. Will you? Future Buzz, I thought you were intelligent. The sun is gone. The heroes have fallen and likely fallen, and the end gallops here apace. We could safely assume this town, this world, have no future. Never assume. It makes an ass of you and me. So we see oh boy, some people are just freaking out now and attacking Linda's mother in the car and everything. Oh, again, one guy's trying to say, they've all gone nuts. He tries to run to hide, but then store owner shoots and kills him, thinking he was looting, and he doesn't care, and something is turning people into animals.
wow, this is very intense, very fast.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. Peter David can be very good at handling tie-ins.
Hmm.
He could also be very lousy if he's forced to. But this is a case where it's like just doing what I prefer when the tie-ins deal with reacting to it without being necessary. That was one of the downsides when you had stuff like War of the Gods, unfortunately, where every tie-in issue was just the next chapter. I do not care for that, where you're required to buy all the issues.
Right. That is no, especially if you aren't already buying the book, then
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no.
Exactly. But yeah, this is again, it's a reaction. But yeah, he's a cop. Linda, my father is a cop. Curious how I didn't remember that until I see him now, and it all comes back as if I've forgotten. Guess I better get used to things like this happening. Now that I am Linda Danvers, or at least living her life. He looks at me and doesn't suspect, sees nothing in Linda and me. Funny, I see so much of Linda and him. You could have been beaten the pulp out of that crowd. Why didn't you? What end? I'm here to help them, not hurt them, nor could they hurt me, so I offered yourself up to their fear. Incredible. The most super thing about you is your patience. Patience? Like when I sky high that bruiser? Get this straight. I could have torn you to shreds, snapped you in half, strangled you with your own intestine. You mess with me again, there won't be enough left of your DNA tracing. You got that? I said you got that? Yes, don't kill me. Yes. I think that's a bit of Linda rubbing on her.
Definitely. And that I think it's was it Glass or Split? One of those
Oh, I know what
type
you're talking
movies.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either Glass and one of those two. Yeah, I see. No, it was Split, the one with the multiple personalities.
Yes, this is definitely giving her this where, the inner consciousness. There's even not so much as body snatchers, but
Hmm.
it has been movies where the characters are like one body, two
Hmm.
souls type thing.
Exactly. Have you ever seen the Doom Patrol show?
Yes.
Crazy Jane.
Yes, exactly.
It's similar
Exactly.
to that, where some
Hmm.
of her personalities might influence one without taking it over. Rarely does that happen, but it could.
Right.
But yeah, things are getting worse. We're then seeing this one doctor we've seen before was Cutter, and he's like, "I'm getting out of here, reporter. I got a job to do," and all that. Oh, and that's Maddie. Maddie's a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Dr. Harcourt. And I love that. Like, you see, like, wait, that's Maddie? But at first you're like, no, and then he spells it out, it's Harcourt. So, but unfortunately, that was her brother who got shot.
Oh, wow.
And I see that guy's becoming more animalistic. A lot of
Hmm.
people slowly are. So it's like you're taking what's already people being animalistic from the riot, from rioting, and actually turning them into animals.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, oh, and she remembers when she did this once, her berserker form. This was after she found out the truth about Lex manipulating her. So she's thinking back to that. Oh, and we just see, yeah, Maddie gets is transformed. So many people are changing. Um, of course, like my daughter, my husband, they're out there somewhere. It's insanity. I have to pray for them to be in God's house. Now one day, like when you look at her here, and then because I now remember, I've only read these two, and I can tell you, Linda's mother, the way she is here, different how she is by the end. Like she's not as pray for God, that type of religious woman by the end. She's more balanced, mellowed. It's obviously she's using her religion as a blanket.
Oh, okay.
You can
Well,
kind of tell with her tone, like when you see some of these people who are like that, who are so intense in their religion, but you go to tell it's an insecurity.
hmm
Especially look at what the life she had was Linda and her husband. Yeah, she's going to hold on to it like a blanket.
right.
And yeah, what she said, she works for the Reverend. She's also the assistant to a Reverend. That doesn't help.
Well, yeah, she's very religious and, with the trauma that she's dealt
We
with.
can imply. We can even
Yeah,
imply.
yeah, that is pretty much pushing her to that very strong in the religion. But I
Yeah.
guess as the story goes on, and as you said, you know, Linda, she might be a bad person by the end, but at the same time, at some point, especially with religion, you do mellow out. You
Yep.
do, because it sometimes for some people it does feel like you're emotionally and kind of mentally hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to keep up
Exactly.
that sort of persona. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in order for your mental health to be at least a little bit balanced, you gotta calm yourself down.
And it also helps that Linda will get better. She eventually will become her own person again, get better, and her husband will mellow out. So with that, she will no longer need it. Not that she
Yes.
doesn't need religion at all. She just won't need it as a blanket.
Right. Right.
But yep. They meet up with a Buzz again, and oh boy, and tried to shapeshift, didn't you? Turn invisible, didn't work. Your powers are mental, love. You defined yourself as Linda and Supergirl, your own Alpha and Omega. You have psychic boundaries now. You're doing this in the town, aren't you? No, love, I'm not. It's a talisman called the Heart of Darkness, which unleashes the beast within humans. Can't say whether it'd work on you or not, since you're part human now. It's a limited talisman, only works during total eclipse. But with the world's and I, it's proven handy. Give it to me. Haven't got it, love. Then who does? Now, how now? Oh, didst I hear a scream? Sounds like Mumsy to me. She left her in the worst spot. Whoops. And, oh, it's Grodd. I should have known, even when the evidence of humanity's course made clear the last shred of civility ripped away, it would still be one of you insufferable lovers of nobility railing against the inevitable fall of night. Boy, gorilla suits are getting really good these days. I'd take umbrage if I weren't being stressed by a human female in a Superman suit. Whatever you're doing to the people, you better. I made them nothing they aren't already. Cities burn all over this planet as humanity's basest instincts take hold. If I never have my triumph of retaking Gorilla City, at least I can retake and remake this city in my own image. Think of it as a party, Supergirl. A come as you are party with me, Gorilla Grodd, as your humble host. Obviously, you're a special case, girl, so I shall have to issue your invitation personally. Supergirl! I think that would be a misnomer about now. You see, the Maid of Steel has been remade. How about that? It worked. She's really got the hang of this humanity bit. Coffin nails. Good a time as any to quit. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Ooh, and yep, the ape and the devil instead of the angel. Leesburg, my kind of town. At least it is at the moment. The flames dying the horizon, set by humans made into beasts, makes me feel right at home. The sun has vanished, eternal night has fallen. I've quit smoking. All in all, a fairly productive day. Puzzle boy, not bad, particularly since the last, and it seems to be the last one. You have read of me. You have heard of me, and you know that the time of the beast is here. This is truly the end. You are truly part of me, just as I am part of you. Supergirl, where are you? I require your presence. You call me my master, Gorilla Grodd. Supergirl, listen to me. You're not like this. You're not like this. Her yammering annoys me. Into the fire with her. Yes, Grodd. No. Yes, in the name of I've caught her eye. Atta girl. Wouldn't want you to do anything you'll regret in the morning. If there is a morning. Oh, nicely done, my dear. Classic misdirection. You're watching the fire and don't know and they're watching the fire and don't notice your side blast knocking your helpless mom out of the church. Odd. She's not screaming while atop the bonfire. She must have passed out from fear, my lord. Rizzo is that one and that one a bit, love. Try to figure out why you did what you did, or if you even did it. I'll attend to the rest. Can I help you up, Mom? And so what's all this then? The whole world's gotten crazy. Well, it is the end of the world. Good a time as any to go crackers. But we should be trying to draw strength from each other. Believe me, Mom, this may sound harsh, but people would rather draw blood than strength. Come on, let's get you home. You'll catch your death literally out here. You're such a nice man and young man. Yeah, when they made me, they broke the mold. Uh-oh. But yeah, obviously Grodd is just taking over everything and all this. And oh no, Maddie finds her brother. Like, what are you staring at? What are you staring at, you punk? And if you or your punk friends try anything, I'll give you the same like I gave this guy. Oh no. You killed my brother. And stay still. Stop jumping around, you stupid. Kill you. I'll kill them all. Take it all in the name of Grodd. So yeah, Linda's father's trying to stop him. Both he and Maddie are struggling with a gun, and a gun goes off. She shoots the guy, and Maddie's father, and not Maddie, Linda's father gets hurt. He survives, don't worry, but yeah, just look at that. Look at that artwork, the parallels.
Yes. The transformation, all of that. Again, there's a lot of drama going on, and it very much reads like a script of a movie. And the way the artwork
a separate movie, though.
Right. and the way the artwork is trying to convey those certain scenes, it's, as I said, it is kind of difficult when it's a still, you know,
Yep.
piece, but it's doing pretty good with that storytelling bit.
Yeah, I would say it'd be more like a Netflix show, 1 hour long.
Definitely. I would say that for now, even though this is a little out there, but I would rather have this than Supergirl, A Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King.
True, but unfortunately, this is stuff, like I said, DC doesn't even want to touch anymore.
Right.
But yeah, we see this little boy set up for, put a pin in this with this character, set up for down the line. But yeah, that was weird. Huh, he dropped something, some blue piece of cloth, bloodstain from the look of. No, Supergirl to my side. No, what do you mean no? I don't know what I mean. I've got to help him. Wrong, my angel, for it is now Grodd who says no. Oh boy, because of that little thing from this young boy, it snapped her out. So yeah, just puts up a big fight at everything. Monkey bars, that's suitable, I suppose. Ha! Yep, just stops. Like, if that's the case, then humanity really doesn't deserve to live. What? And then the sun returns. And remember, that thing only works in an eclipse. So it's going to start it. But we also see that she can be reverted back to Linda. But, yep, yeah, big fight. Eventually turns back to Supergirl. It's able to stop it. And she does a psychic blast. Ha! As always, the mind of the beast is superior. And this is why I shall carry the destiny, for none can defeat the beast. I didn't intend for that huge icicle to dislodge. I didn't intend for it to slam into his chest with the force of my diverted blast. I didn't intend, but perhaps someone else did. He lives. But yeah, we see so many people are hurt. They're recovering. Obviously, Linda's father will survive. We also see Maddie. You okay? No, I'm not. On autopilot, Maddie is immediately on her feet, ready to help, ready to resume her duties as healer. I'll ask her later what happened. Right now, what we need is time to heal ourselves and others. Time to remind ourselves that we are so much more than beasts. What a cliffhanger.
Yeah, this is, I would say that this is just one arc, right?
Oh yeah, there's a two-parter. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the intensity continues on, the momentum continues on. A lot of times, as you said, with tie-ins and stuff, you basically lose the momentum. But this is just keeps going and going.
It keeps going and just use the setting perfectly.
Yes.
That's what I love about this. But yeah, now we got we have her dealing with Chemo from the Metal Men. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what led to this, but apparently Chemo's in this kind of baby form at the moment. But we also see Kansas today. Are you alive? Yeah, one of those type of, pastors, those over the top traveling tent pastors and all that. And like, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. And can I hear an amen? Amen. I said, can I hear an amen? Amen. But then we also notice like people are giving all this money. Like these people scraping a few dollars together to buy into his brainstorming rhetoric while he sports expensive jewelry. He wants to be closer to God. Let's see if a half-strength side blast can bring him closer than he anticipated. Right? Of course, they talk him down and everything. And unfortunately, it backfires. Hallelujah! It's a miracle! A blessed miracle right before your eyes, and they give him more! Whoops! Good intentions, May, but
the comedic timing is really good.
Yep, I just love it. It's like, it's a miracle.
It's very overdramatic, but in a good way.
That's what some of these pastors could be like. They're like, can I get it all, man?
Right.
So he's just keeping it going. But yep, we're seeing Maddie having to deal with what happened with her brother. And oh no, that's not wait. Yeah, it is Maddie. Yeah. Meanwhile, while she is dealing up with one thing, dealing with all PJ stuff. Because it turns out PJ worked at this location. Turns out it's not far from where we're seeing this other scientific work with chemo going on. Why did you bring me to that meeting, Pa? Well, when you got here, you were talking about soul and God and so much religious stuff. I thought you were going a little over the top. So I thought you appreciate someone way over the top. You asked me that much, and that's not religion so much as a circus. Still, May, you shouldn't have done what you did. I know it backfired something fierce, but he just got to me with that stuff about being alive. He just used it to make money. But it's, a serious subject to me. Is that what you've been asking us about? Why you've been asking us about God and souls and such? Is that some business causes, or is there something else? It's, of course, she's like, how do I tell them? Fits in a little bit of a summary for people who are new to the issue. It's fine. Really. I'm sorry if I made this visit, too heavy or anything. I better get going. You sure there's nothing we can do? I'll be fine. Just got some stuff to have to, work out on my own. But thanks for everything. Mwah. Love ya. Bye. Say, Martha, since when did May start saying, the girl's changed, Jonathan, no question. But the biggest change I see is that she clearly wants privacy. And I think we have to respect that.
With with the Kents, I flip-flop with them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on, I guess, the story narrative, of course.
Right.
But when you have little sweet moments, it's kind of like, no, maybe not kill them.
Right.
But then it does give that emotional, it goes back, and that's what me and Jared talks about,
Mm-hmm.
the golden age, Superman, he
Oh, yeah.
didn't have the Kents. So
Right.
it's kind of like some of our reactions to certain things. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want Superman or Supergirl or even Connor
Right.
to rely too much on the Kents. Like
Oh, no.
they have to have, I mean, they're adults, so they have
Yeah.
to make their own
Connor, not
decisions.
so much.
Well, yeah, Connor is still stuck. He's 16 forever.
For the most part, yeah.
But with Superman, it felt like some fans want him to have like this picture perfect, silver platter life.
True.
So it
I,
takes away some of the drama,
I
but at the
personally
same
look,
time,
yeah, gives them a place to talk to, though. A place to go
right,
to when, especially before Lois or anyone finds out. Someone where you can go to and at least tell them, where you can actually talk to them about it. I mean, if he goes to Jor-El can only do so much because he's talking from a Kryptonian perspective, not a human perspective.
right. If you have that balance, it's all about balance. If you have
Mhm.
that balance of
Yeah.
not just every decision that Clark has to make or every like
Right.
bad thing that happens, he go run home.
Oh,
You
no,
know
no.
that is the thing.
That's a bad thing. That's
Yeah,
why I would rather, here's what you do. You flash back to him having those talks with the Kents when he was younger, where he had similar things, and he goes back inward to it.
right. If you have them dead when he's 18 or so, like the new 52, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those the morals and the values and stuff that don't just vanish.
No.
I don't understand why fans think just
Uh,
because they aren't alive, he
mhm.
becomes a tyrant or
Well,
something.
again, I
They
don't think it becomes a tyrant. I think Doomsday Clock got it right. Their death more was a symbol of what was wrong after what Manhattan had changed things, rather than being like they were needed. It's what they represented, which was that because there was no Golden Age heroes, Superman didn't feel like he could go out and be trusted. And because of that, the Kents died. So they were symbolic of that. But undoing the damage, bringing back the Golden Age, having it be that other heroes existed before Superman. So now he feels more confident. he was then willing to go out and save him because he wasn't doubting himself.
Right. I would say in that perspective, okay, Doomsday Clock did right. However, it
Yep.
still felt like Johns was trying to go the nostalgia route and thinking because New 52 Superman didn't have the Kents, he didn't have, them to follow him even beyond probably as much as they are needed as his, being an adult.
True, but we don't
It's
know what filled in the gaps though, but in between then and now, we don't know what changed.
true. But I'm still kind of like, why are you putting the blame on DC's
Mm-hmm.
screw ups on Manhattan? I just think that
True.
that was a cop out.
Oh
But
yeah.
if just it's kind of like a nostalgia game though. It's playing between, like I said, New 52 and the nostalgia of post crisis or something like that. You needed to not make it seem like you're choosing one
Oh yeah.
over the other. Give that especially because they were dragging New 52 Superman just
Mm-hmm.
through the ringer. What you needed to do was say, okay, this iteration didn't have the Kents, but he was still Superman. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
that he's lesser or
Oh no.
anything like that. He
Mm-hmm.
is still Superman. And then, yeah, this is the Superman that everyone is used to. He has the Kents, and but they both can coexist, or they both
Yeah.
coexist, or something like that. But yeah, Doomsday Clock again. With everything, DC walks a tightrope, and sometimes they lean over too far on one
Mm-hmm.
side
Too
and
far on
end
the
up falling over.
nostalgia, too far on the let's change things drastically. Because as we already
Right,
know, a bad case of changing things is all new, all different Marvel, where they say, accept the change, otherwise you're an istophobe.
right. Well, in Rebirth case, it was except bringing back the old, or you're not a true fan.
Yeah, I feel some people went overboard. Oh, I
Yeah.
love this bit. Again, I really like this back and forth. So it's like, well, Mr. Sharp, I thought it was a validation of everything positive about humanity. Sylvia, are you insane? The city went berserk. People were like beasts. I was shot for God's sake. Yes, you were, and good people brought you here and saved you. There was viciousness, but also compassion and love. Sometimes you have to take a step backward to move forward. Sometimes people never learn anything. Folks, quick quiz. Half empty or half full? Okay, I'll take that as a no comment. The look on their face, they're like, excuse me?
It's like is not no time for that right now.
Yeah. I mean, I get his point of his joke. It's not an out of place joke, because that's pretty much what they're
Right.
talking. Half empty, half full, but you're like, you don't need to spell it out, Cutter.
He's just trying to make light of, this situation. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, the comedic timing of the jokes, of just that relief from the intensity of the
Mm-hmm.
story is very well placed.
Yep. Uh-oh. Now we're having that. He's remembering stuff from Action 590, the last time he was, about, and he's remembering certain things. But again, this is just basically Chemo's always been a semi-sentient vat of chemicals. He's not fully. It's like he's trying to always have these thoughts together, but it's not like he won't be able to talk perfectly or anything. But yeah, just oh boy, big attack going on. And the Reverend Navarro looks a little down today as I cruise past. Can't say I blame him. The Scorcher continues with no end in sight, and his window box garden is suffering. But there's not much even a Supergirl can do about the weather. It's tricky enough getting the hang of my skateboard again. Fortunately enough, a slight TK burst helps realign me whenever hey, Danvers, got 5 minutes for an old pal? Cutter, I thought you were hospitalized. Takes more than that to take me down. Speaking of which, I was interviewing this guy, Survivor type, like me and you. I'll be taking over the electronic shop over here. Previous owner had a mishap. The guy who got shot and shot PJ, Richard Malvern, and the Danvers. Have we met Miss Danvers? I don't think so. Oh, well, you know what? They say sometimes you recognize people's souls from previous incarnations. So, Dicko, what you think of the town so far? It seems kind of nice. Well, frankly, it's been getting a bit of a reputation. Mr. Cutter here says lately it's like the X-Files in these parts. Oh, I don't know about that. Sure, there's problems, but there's nothing happening in Leesburg that you wouldn't find in your average, typical, small, bizarro town.
Wow, nicely put.
I know. You're just standing there snapping pictures? You get used to it around here. Let's take a hint from Miss Danvers. She lit out of here like a jackrabbit. Ha! I knew she'd show up. Yeah, big fight going on, and which makes taking him down fairly easy based on what I've read. All I have to do is puncture him. His insides spill out, and that's it for chemo. And these weird regulator tubes should do the job. Ah! Hey! It's absorbing her in. I pulled the tube loose, but his body's sealing up around. Knock it off and stop it. Knock it off. Ah, hell. Don't panic. Don't panic. Ignore the burning in your lungs. This isn't hopeless. TK Blast, give it all you got. Nothing. Not making a dent. New skin. Some sort of unbreakable air. Right outside. Maddie, her eyes frantic. Think of something. Come on, Linda. You can do it. You can. You. Are you alive? Yes, I am. You are different from the others. They all mix, combine into two types. Human machine, metal machine. But yes, you are different. And I am different. Maybe we are like in our differences. Okay, a little correction to what I said earlier. It depends on the writer. Some writers might do one like this. Others, it's just the
Right.
noises. No, you're just a collection of chemicals. So are humans. No, they're more than that. They don't have to ask if they're alive. They know. But I want to be alive. To be like me? Yes. But that will never happen. You're a freak accident. You'll never be any more than you are right now. Please, this can't be all there is. I'm sorry. And it screams. In my heart, my head, my soul, it screams. Go loose. Don't be tense. Don't be tense. I feel something rush past me, rising like a great rustling of winds that chills me. And I watch in astonishment as chemo hurls upward, whether of its own volition or drawn by another force, I can't tell. And as I observe it happen, one aching truth hangs over me. I lied. I lied to a creature in need. Is this from the monster? Is this acid rain or something? No, it's purified somehow. Perfectly good rainwater. The people of Leesburg emerged from the danger past, and a much needed rain bathing them, caressing them like tears from God, giving them hope. I told chemo that it couldn't aspire to anything beyond a freakish half-life, but I didn't know for sure. I was faced with a being like me, wanting more, and I turned away. In doing so, I may have saved lives, but at a cost to myself. And I can only pray that chemo, in being denied what he sought here, ultimately found something greater. Aww.
Wow.
Yeah, these are a bunch of one-off stories just to make this clear. These next ones. But yeah, we then get this. This is Rampage. Basically, think of it as DC's She-Hulk. Sort of.
Definitely looks as though.
Oh, yeah. The air rushing past me. Flying. No. Falling. Which way is up? I think it's that way. Nope. That wasn't it. Can't think. Can't breathe. Can't. I'm Brackner. Where are you? If you think you can get away that easy, then you don't know. Rampage. I'm gonna look in the mirror and won't see her. I ditched her. I know it. Ah, nuts. At first, some bronze chick came smashing through town, and now there goes Supergirl. Supergirl, check again. That's the man. And incredible. Just incredible. And the reporter guy was trying to tell me that Leesburg was just some small regular town. What a crock of and damn, it's getting worse. His name is Buzz. The fellow in agony is Dick. Oops, Richard Malvern. And all of the foregoing began innocently enough as follows. Mom, I know you're just trying to help, and I appreciate that, but geez, you want to set me up on a blind date? Don't you trust my judgment, Linda? Uh-oh, you know where this is going. It won't be this issue, but it'll be a later issue, but you already know where this is going with the setup.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about trust. Couldn't you just punish and push? And you can't just, no. And couldn't you not just not push me into, here we go. I knew it. I knew it. It was too good to last. Fred, you promised not to cause problems. I'm not causing problems. I just knew it was too good to last. What was too good to last? Fred, don't get yourself upset. You're just out of the hospital. Ever since Supergirl rescued you, you've been the perfect daughter. No argument, no grief. Used to be you never lift a finger for anyone unless it was your middle finger. Your father's exaggerating. The hell I am. You have major attitude. In the past few weeks, we've been walking on eggshells, praying it wouldn't come back. But it has. No, I'm not giving you attitude. You sure are. Well, maybe you're the cause. Ever think of that? What I thought was that we finally had a real daughter. Yeah, well, for your information, I'm, never mind. Typical. Storm out in the middle of a discussion. We've got nothing to discuss. See what I mean about what I said a while back?
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Right. The family drama is done in a very believably, and it's not dysfunctional where it's obnoxious and uncomfortable.
Or play for drama, extreme drama.
Right.
Yeah, it's played more for character drama.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Oh, and Star Labs wants that vision statement typed up by Monday. And not a problem, Dr. Faulkner. I'll attend to everything. You just have a good time here at the convention. Laura knows you've worked hard and long enough to earn it. Hey, Christine, I just wanted you to know how much I value you. I gotta say, I like this because it's clear that Peter Davis keeping this up in the air, whether these two are friends or not.
Well,
or friends or more. I'm afraid that friends or more.
Right.
Because she says stuff like, "You came into life and I was overwhelmed by a lot of things and don't need to know about. I nearly burned myself out. And if you hadn't shown up, help pull it together for me." See what I mean? That's what I mean by that.
I mean, again, at that time,
you had to keep it vague.
Very much so. Or, well, I wouldn't say that the outrage wouldn't be as it is because so many people are chronically online now. But, well, you do have message boards and stuff. So it would be the outrage, or what editors, letters and stuff. But again, having it vague, but in a way where you can interpret it and be ambiguous in a respectful manner. Again, this is a lot of current writers need to take note of this.
Yep. Now to make this clear, because his hair is cut, this is after the wedding. Just want to make that clear. Oh, yes. Okay, thanks. I definitely owe you big time. Clark, what's up? It's got a tip from a source inside Star Lab. There's been an auditing going on, and things are being turned up that what? Dr. Kitty Faulkner is about to be charged with misappropriation of funds. I don't believe it. Me neither. At the moment, she's out of town at a science conference. Keynote speaker. God help her. She doesn't know yet? I don't think so. And it might help if she hears it from someone she can trust. That person being you, it's a curse I live with. Is this your ball? Here you go. What's your name? Hey, what's her problem? She doesn't trust you. Kids have been drilled into them not to trust strangers because you never know if strangers are hiding anything. I guess, yeah. Of course, there are all kinds of strangers. Sometimes people in the same family are strangers to each other, hiding secrets, and some hide more than others. Strangers in our own skin, not sure if they're living a life or a lie, trying to. Wait a minute. Why am I telling you this? Who are you anyway? Hey, where'd you go? You talk again. What was like that? See what I mean about that kid being this mysterious figure?
Right.
But yeah, meeting up with him, hitting it off quite a bit. But then Kitty finds out about the funds and everything. I'll come straight away. They're accusing me of misappropriating star funds for the meta-human research program. They say the books don't jive. The money's been siphoned off. It's private accounts of mine. Kitty, maybe you better come clean with them. Come clean, but my God, it was you. Me, Kitty, I don't know what you've created the false account. Only you had access to both my office and private life. It's always traffic to try to discover that truly great women aren't so great. You better tell them you did. I've worked too hard and come too far in my career to let some. That's the other reason why it helps keeping it vague. Because you wouldn't want to be, if they are, then she's like, oh, she's a bitch.
Well,
Right?
yeah. When you're writing female characters, that you have to give that sort of attitude.
Yep. And
um,
set up a betrayal.
you again, some writers can't convey that because they think that that is the badass girl boss type thing,
Ugh.
and it comes off so cliche and stereotypical, but also so shallow.
It
So
is.
if you build up that, and like I said, honestly, just going through this, it really just reminds me of so many movies I,
Mm-hmm.
watched and loved, and the characters are, you're invested,
Mm-hmm.
and even if it is a character that you're not supposed to like, that does have that bitchy type attitude,
Mm-hmm.
you still like the character,
Yep.
because you're not supposed to like the character,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time you do. That
And a
is,
quick setup. Yeah, we had a quick
yeah,
setup, and yeah, we already got a good understanding of her here. She's
right,
not flat. You can already tell, like, birds are like, oh, that's sweet. And you're like, uh-oh.
right. That is what is very much missing in
Mm-hmm.
current writing, especially for female characters.
Quick
So many
setup.
female
Yeah.
characters are very flat, and it's so, like, you have to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell say this all the time. It doesn't matter the gender of the writer,
No.
whether it is a male or female, because some female writers, they go for the cattiness. Um,
Yep. Or the curl
and
bars.
right. And then uh male writers, that's what they think, that if they want to gauge the female audience, they think go girl boss in a shallow way, or if
Yeah.
they want to have that sort of, in a sense, convey their intimidation. Like, so many writers don't know the complexity of Wonder Woman, and
Right.
they just fall on
Warrior
the
or.
warrior woman, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, they either go with the warrior woman or the fish out of water. And it's
Hey.
like, you don't know how to balance her. So she comes off flat or very shallow, and that is how fans fall off. And that's
Yep.
pretty much where we are now with Tom King's run. So
Yep. I still
yeah,
remember though when Jodie Picoult came onto the run. It was right after the 1 year later story. And it still bothers me. You have a point where she is at a gas station in her Diana Prince disguise, and she's told to pump up the gas. I remember she's been around for a long time. And yeah, it's so like, pump up the gas. She holds up the pump going, pump. It's like, oh, come on,
right.
Jodie, editors. What happened? Why? She worked at a fast food joint. She knows how to pump gas.
Right. Or it's just some things, or even her, they don't know whether to write her in a way where it feels like she has an accent,
Mm-hmm.
or she has an American
Right.
voice. And honestly, that really doesn't matter as long as you have
Mm-hmm.
Diana's characterization. And no, she does represent the mascara. She does represent that quote unquote foreign
Yep.
woman, or that,
Yep.
you know, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, she's very intelligent.
Yep.
So write her as that. And I feel like because some writers want her to continue on, like, learning of the American way of living,
Mm-hmm.
then they have to continue on writing her as the fish out of water. And
Agreed.
then obviously, with Tom King or even just
Yep.
Rebirth Period, they don't know how to keep her supporting cast relevant, especially
Sure.
Steve. So
Oh yeah.
for him to be relevant, Diana has to depend on him, and that takes away her intelligence.
Can I give you one example of someone who tried to actually come up with something interesting, but unfortunately it was right before New 52 and it went right out the window? JMS. The JMS run actually did something interesting. it gave Diana an alternate life where she actually grew up in man's land because of its circumstances. And then by the end of it, she remerged with her prior stuff. So she had that memory, the experience of growing up in man's land, even though she still had her normal life. And I was always curious where this could have gone. If someone actually took on, I mean, chances are the next writer would have ignored it. But if someone actually took that and decided to play off of that, imagine a Diana who had this alternate life, but now had an experience of growing up. And it's not an American thing. It is simply had to be she grew up a very different life, not a somewhat sheltered life on the island. She grew up, you know, like listening to music, man's land music and chewing bubble gum, things like that, where it's like there's a slight difference to her. And then having the two reconcile would have been an interesting story.
It would have. I really don't know who could
Oh yeah,
take that on.
I
I
don't
would
either.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, no one of,
Mm-hmm.
of the current crop can do that.
Okay.
It's a
How's
very
this?
good idea.
Yep. How's this Gary Frank Superman? Definitely not looking like Reeves.
That is so much better. I admire, you know, the homage and
Yep.
everything.
Oh, but it got way too creepy. It got way too creepy.
Especially with the child,
Oh
the
God.
young
Okay.
Clark.
He never does kids well. The kids look like young, like adults on small bodies.
Exactly. It very looks like
Or they look like crackheads.
yes. Well,
The ones with the like, hey, you know, the really
yeah.
wide-eyed.
Yeah. So I definitely prefer this. The artwork throughout here, like I said, I much prefer this over the current
Yep.
Gary Frank art because it feels unique. And again, he's not trying to go
Ape anyone,
specifically
yeah.
with an actor. And with trying to have the characters look specifically like an actor, it feels like you're limiting the character. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just that iteration. And that's the problem with Superman and Wonder Woman right now. She doesn't exactly look like Gal Gadot.
Nope.
However, it's still of course, the uniform and
Mm-hmm.
just the way she is characterized, especially with Tom King. He has said that is his big influence. So yeah, the characters have different interpretation with every artist. I would like to keep it that way instead of trying to make them specifically
ape someone. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much why I'm also against synergy with the movies.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started on that. Oh boy. Now sometimes it helps. It's how we were able to get a proper She-Hulk again.
True, but I still okay.
For every example of that, you get some really bad ones, like forcing a team to match up with the movies.
Right. The circumstances has to be just, basically.
Yep. But yeah. Superman! That's enough, Rampage. I've cleaned up after your mess thus far, but I'm not going to tolerate any more of this. I know what's going on with Star Kitty. I know what they're accusing you of. You got to get a hold of yourself. A situation like this doesn't call for a berserker rage. It requires wham! Subtlety. Chrissy, I gotcha. That voice, Kate? You bet it is. Remember when you asked about that Rampage project? Remember how I didn't want to discuss it? You should have pressed harder on it. You probably would have figured it was no big deal. Some embarrassing failure. Your one mistake, Chris. As wham! The Rampage is over, Rampage. It ends here. It's never going to end. Not as long as there are gullible fools like Kitty Faulkner to believe in people and slimeballs like Christine Bruckner to take advantage of them. Trust, faith, and promises from contracts to wedding vows. It's all garbage. For personal reasons, I certainly hope you're wrong about that. She betrayed me, used me. Do you have any idea how I feel? Yes, but you can't just, I can understand, but okay, Rampage, you win. She's all yours. What? We can't bodyguard her forever. Sooner or later, you'll get her. Might as well be sooner. Are you crazy? No, I'm merciful. This will spare Miss Buckner weeks, months of agonizing anticipation. It's a trick, y'all. Do what you feel is right, Kitty. And this is insane, Kitty. God no, Kitty. I'm sorry. Don't do it, please. I'm Superman. Do something. Do something. Oh, I did do something, Miss Bruckner. I prayed. What do you think of that?
That was
Now,
okay,
chances are he saw where her arms were heading. If they were going to go straight at her, he would have saved
exactly.
her.
He would have saved her.
But he saw that
I
her arms
like
were going like this, not like this.
this is the Superman who trusts that someone could, make the right decision. He doesn't have to be that dad figure to
No,
lecture people. It's
no.
it's more so like he says, a couple of things and then he basically gives it off to that
Person, yeah.
person, and it's kind of like you make the choice and whatever choice you go with, then it is what it is. That is
To a
the
point,
Superman that
to
I
a
like.
point.
Yeah. That is the Superman that I like. I don't like the preachy, self-righteous
Mm-hmm.
lecturing
And
Superman.
nor do
No.
I like, that was one point I had with JMS's Superman, where to the point where it's implied he would have let a woman fall to her death because she made him promise. I'm like, no.
No, 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 no. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't go that far. He would
Yeah,
still,
I know.
you know, give a
Yeah.
person a chance. But yeah,
Uh,
if it is the right choice, um, then of course
yep,
he'll support you. You know.
yep. And I just snapped. My intellect said, confront your accuser. But I felt betrayed and used and foolish. I believe in Chris because she and I just did. That's all. See what I mean? Little bits of dialogue. That's all you need for little bits.
Yeah.
Yep. And since I wimped out on hurting her, she made it quite clear she's not confessing to anything. There are people at the Data Planet who believe you. You can depend on them to take your side. I appreciate the sentiment, but right now I don't know who to trust. Actually, it may not be a problem. 7589 Bank of Geneva. Okay, now tell me where the rest of the money you stole is, and then you'll tell them. Because if you don't, I'll find you and no one else ever will. Trust me on that. I do. You realize officially I can't condone your coercing a confession of our Miss Bruckner. Oh, look who's talking. Hey, I'm Mr. Cheese All Yours. Of course, you knew I wouldn't really have left her vulnerable. Uh-huh. So when you shield her at super speed, I wasn't surprised. Thanks for the vote, sir. So see?
Yeah.
Thanks for the vote of confidence. May, Mom and Pa are a little worried about you. And you aren't? Well, why Leesburg of all places? Has something happened I should know about? Any problems? Why, Superman, if there was anything you really need to know about, don't you think I'd tell you? Mom, I'm walking a fine line here. I don't want you controlling my life, but I want you to know I trust you. So set up the blind date. Just not right away. There might be another get. Oh, I'm so pleased. And you won't be sorry, honey. I have this gut feeling that you and Mr. Aldrin, Buzz Aldrin, will just hit it off. Freaking childproof aspirin. And it's not hardly fair. Is it? Is it? A man so young dealing with a nasty, painful disease. How do you? My name's Buzz, and I'm here to help. Hey, trust me. This will be the last issue we go over.
Okay.
Yep. There's two more issues of Gary Frank, but I think this is a good enough one that we'll end on because the next one will then eventually lead to another multi-parter.
Okay.
Arc history. The world of Linda Danvers is a strange one. I should know. It's my world now. Oh, but part of her still feels separate from me. It's like hiding in some dark corner. Maybe by studying her old art, I can drag that part of her into the light. But yeah, Linda, are you down there? Mom, yeah, I'm here. The morph to Linda gets easier each time. Wonder if that's good or bad. Linda, hi, Mom, hi, Dad. What's up? This is the start of what would be a gag. Because Linda is traditionally not as endowed.
Right.
So this would again go, oh no, stupid. This I can. Cool t-shirt. Supergirl fan again, huh? Linda, and Linda, you're definitely getting bigger. We thought we'd find you down here. And I love this, like, I'll let in some light.
I really love that they think that that is just a regular t-shirt. I
Yep.
do love
And
that
that she
part.
must have something happened with her rack.
Yeah. Maybe working out or something, just that innocence of,
Yep.
people, yeah, until she or any character is ready to, tell of their secret identity.
I love that.
Or
Oh well, Dingy's fine. I guess it helps you concentrate. The mother's just rolling with it. Here it is. I was wondering what happened is. Hey Linda, bring back any memories? Oh yes. Memories of Reverend Meek leading the congregation in applause, and of Mrs. Meek, his wife, my Linda's friend. Like, oh, Linda, it really is a beautiful piece. If you could bear to part with her, I'm sure she'd be very happy at my mantelpiece. I feel Linda's happiness. The next day, I feel her anticipation. Who, you dirty cow! I've had it with your lie. Do you hear me? No more lies. Her fear. Time is a confusion in her mind. A day or week passes. Hard to say. That's right. And that's right. She just up and left him for another man. Oh, and the poor Reverend Meek. Oh dear. We see the Reverend killed
oh,
her.
wow. That that is definitely a big
You see, this is what helped let it down her start of darkness.
yes, the wrapping the body in a
Mhm.
rug. Yeah,
And,
that's
and those are
classic.
probably not even professional people.
Yeah, that is, like I said, this book is very intense, but it's not uncomfortable of a read
Yeah.
with the themes.
Yep. But I love that. Like, oh, is that so? Can we expect you tonight? Yeah, sure. But is it okay if I don't come alone? There's this guy I met, and of course, it's about time you started dating again instead of hanging out with those weirdos you used to. He's not one of those weirdos, is he? No, Dad, and it's not exactly dating either. Well, I don't know. It was just supposed to be the three of us. Oh, come on, Sylvia. You're just miffed because she won't bring and won't be bringing that Aldrin guy you've been always raving about. Bring who you want. We'll see you around 7. I'm almost relieved to get out of Linda's skin as I switch back to Supergirl. Except I feel myself still in her skin, even more than before. I had thought I could redeem a life gone wrong, bring light to a darkened soul, and benefit us both. Or perhaps that's arrogant, as if I'm so perfect that making Linda more like me automatically brings her soul closer to heaven. Instead, we might both be dragged kicking and screaming in the other direction. Linda told no one what she saw, guess because Meeks had been so revered by her. Or maybe someone kept her silent. Not her parents, certainly not Maddie. Oh, God, of course. And this we find out, yeah, here's the Reverend at Bother, and this is where she met Buzz, who turned her to be darker. So we find
Hmm.
out there actually was, a lot of it was actually Buzz tweaking her. So there might have been a bit of a darkness, but he exaggerated what he claimed.
Right.
So we find out, yeah, he just got taken in, and oh boy, the whole innocent church Christian girl being taken in by the dark desires. A little cliche, but the truth, there's a lot of truth, especially when they're so sheltered.
Right. Yeah, that is true, especially when they say the cliche of like the preacher's kid or something like that, or the innocent is has like this hidden um like dark
Yep,
personality that likes to go clubbing or something like that.
yep. And then, yep, it sickens me. I saw Meek today. It sickens me the way he prays around like he's God Almighty, influencing innocent people, using the most obvious tricks to control the way they think. Someone has to get him. Just kill him. Stab his eyes out. You're so right, Linda. But who? Oh, Linda, you never stood a chance. Tunk! I wish she'd just give him a chance. He's such a nice young man. The days of Linda listening to us are long gone, Sylvia. At least she's coming. It wasn't all that long ago that she was lost to us. I know, but God brought her back to us to guide her, and I, for one, will not neglect my duty. Yes, dear. The sunlight reminds me how cold it is down here. Maybe it's time to leave before I find something that really What is that? More memories. And we find out and this is what initiated her to actually being taken joining part with the sacrifice. Kill someone that is a horrible human being. That is connected to Linda.
Mm.
I love it. So what do you think? Danvers, oh, you wait till I get out of this. You're going to be so sorry. You'll think that last time was a birthday present. Last time? Oh no, Linda. She's really mad. Gee, I didn't. Hang about. Did you say, would I get out of this? Oh, what a relief. And yeah, I can't change the past, but the evil that was Linda's all life can rest here forever. Hello? Hi, Dick. It's Linda. Oh, hi, Linda. What can I do for you? Well, I was wondering if you're free tonight. I don't believe it. At first the car dies, and now the phone gives up. I sure know how to make a good impression. You sure know how to make a good impression. I don't understand. I gave him the number. Well, at least you found out what sort of young man he is. Oh, but it just came for you. To Linda. Who's it from, dear? Oh, dear. And I think that's a good place to stop it at, but there's a tease for next time. So, what do you think?
That was very interesting. I loved it. I would honestly, um,
Continue on?
yeah, I would definitely continue on. And actually, I would give this I want to say a 10 out of 10.
It is that damn good, isn't it?
Because, like I said, with going through it, it reminded me of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very picky about things.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get my attention,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the very first page of the bloody S and things like
Yeah.
that, and just like I said, with going into her mind in the monologue and having
Mm-hmm.
her narrate, I love that. I love when it's not just the character. Yeah, you have your protagonist, but when they actually have a voice and you can
Mm-hmm.
feel that, um,
Agreed.
they're not just chess pieces that these writers are just moving from plot point to plot point, and then
Right.
again, you're not investing in the story, you're not investing in the side characters or just the plot overall. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this really just kept my attention. It obviously there is a story to be told, and it's not also boggled down by continuity mess.
No.
It's very much in its own realm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have Superman featured. You know, you have
Kitty and
maybe
all that characters who have been around.
right. You do have that, but they're not in the way, and
Nope.
they actually serve a purpose. As long as you have that and just keep that going, you have my attention.
And it does. What do you think about Linda? And then the mystery
Her
still.
so at first with seeing just Supergirl, you automatically think Kara.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
with now knowing of Linda is like, oh wow, this. So I like the simplification of Supergirl is Superman's cousin because
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that whole. However, as I said, with different iterations, I there's stories to be told.
Like
So I
this. Yeah.
definitely love this version of Supergirl too. It's,
Mm-hmm.
you have Kara, you have Linda, you have the multiverse of say Laura from Dark Knight
You have
universe,
Matrix. Because remember, they're two different people. You have Linda and you
right.
have Matrix. Yeah.
And to tell different stories with, yeah, they have the same monarchy or superhero name, but
Mm-hmm.
they are different characters. I like that she's going on a different journey
Mm-hmm.
than Kara because like we've seen in the CW show,
Mm-hmm.
Kara felt like a female version of Superman.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't you want them to be different. Um
Mm-hmm.
again, going because we're going back and forth with this iteration or the classic
Yep.
that and then current Kara right now feels like an extension in a not so good way of Superman. She doesn't
Oh yeah,
feel unique.
her own. She doesn't
Um,
feel her own. Yeah, and that's always been the problem. Even when they brought her back after Loeb left. I mean, first Loeb tried to reveal the whole, oh, her father was like the Abel and or the Cain to Jor-El's Abel and all
April,
that, and it
right,
was like that was the dumbest idea. But like, it's the hard thing. That's why I think this worked. Having her be that she wasn't his cousin allowed you to have them be separated. And that's what really made this series. I think this is why people really have taken to this series, because this is the most disconnected yet not disconnected Supergirl has ever been.
right. I really enjoy that. And even when they are trying to make them different,
Mm-hmm.
um, they go too far with Kara.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
again, like with Tom King making her a drunk,
Uh,
and she cussed like a sailor.
yep.
In Woman of Tomorrow, we are going to have that. And like, I just really don't understand the motivation behind adapting such a story.
Now,
It's
here's the
especially
question. Here's the thing, though. Do you think it's going to be a 1-to-1, or do you think it's going to end in a different place? Because I think it's going to end in a very different place.
um okay, so with I would say that James Gunn is being very wishy-washy about the way he wants the DCU to connect. At first, he
Hmm.
says that, okay, this story is standalone, but it,
It's kind of
it
hard to do that. It's kind of hard to do that when you're
yeah,
having it be a cinematic universe.
exactly. But at the same time, what he says is that, okay, this movie will connect at some point. And the fact that we've had the rumor, or not so rumor, because it's is plastered. I think one of the movie theaters posted the characters
Mhm.
on and has confirmed that Supergirl will be in the movie.
Yep, the
And
post-credit scene.
so with her being connected, and then you go jump to, you already have this cute dog,
Hmm.
and that is bringing in children
Oh
for the
yeah, and
Superman
then you're
movie.
gonna go into that.
So yeah, so when
That's why
you
I'm wondering
see,
if they're gonna cut the tone back. I think they will tone back a little bit
you
because they
have
know
to.
people are appreciating it. I think if nothing else, they might do the drunkenness to a point, but play it for laughs, not for
Especially if you are, honestly, Crypto is going to be the DCU mascot. So
big
if you
time.
are, so if you're going to have him in multiple movies or shows, and you've already set the standard basically that you can't do too much of
Hmm.
adult type
Which is fine,
things, yeah, when crypto is involved. So
right?
you have to just know the balance. So with Superman and Supergirl, yeah,
Well, we
they
won't know until
can,
we get a trailer, though. We won't know until we get a
true,
trailer. Yes, we know where they're taking it from. Yes, we know that they're giving us Lobo, which King originally wanted. But you guys don't know Lobo can also be very silly too. So for all we know, this might be more of a. Here's what I think: it's going to be PG-13 at the most. It
oh,
is not going to be an R-rated.
it definitely has to be PG-13 because of the audience. And
Hmm.
as I said, it's featuring crypto. Children will want to see crypto.
Yep.
And also, they want to have this cinematic universe a little bit similar to when
Early Marvel,
Marvel, yeah, early Marvel.
which is
So, yeah,
fine. Early Marvel, I think, is a gold standard for a cinematic universe. Not
right,
current, early.
right. So, I mean, all of their movies are definitely going to be PG-13. I would say that anything that's, I would say,
R-rated
like
would be yeah,
Clayface,
yeah.
uh, Penguin, Creature Commandos, of course.
Relegated
Um,
to places where they could be more restrictive.
right. If it is if it's an HBO Max exclusive, or just those low budget, sort of very off the wall type movies, then yeah, you can do R-rated,
Yeah,
all day long.
definitely,
But
definitely.
when it's actually,
Theatrical, no.
yeah, when it's actually connected to the DCU, yeah, he had Creature Commandos connected, but again, that was very limited to HBO Max. But theatrical, if those movies are,
Well, it depends on
again,
the characters involved too. Like if he does something wholesale with a character that doesn't have crypto in it, I think he might be able to get away with that.
well, I would say like if they do Batman and Robin, of
Hmm.
course, Brave and the Bold, that will definitely
Oh
be
yeah, family.
PG-13 and more family oriented, especially with the fact that you are bringing in Damian
Hmm.
and the Bat family. You already have dynamic duo with
Hmm.
Grayson
Oh
and
boy, that Jason look.
yeah, so
Oh
um
Lord, I don't want to get into that.
well, they said that it was fake, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Hard to tell, hard to
Yeah,
tell. But
but
yeah.
yeah, it, it really depends. I think that James Gunn, he's very ambitious
Yep.
and with he should have established his A-listers. I understand that he felt like okay, he's going to use one A-lister to um kind of welcome
Yeah.
as a welcome mat for the characters that he obviously prefer as C-listers or you know but when you're trying to build trust in your audience and also
Hmm.
trust in just this cinematic universe, you needed to prioritize your A-listers. So yes, you should have had a Wonder Woman movie be kind of before a what's the next Clayface
Like
or
that's true. That's true. But I think the other thing is now remember, as you've said with one, you need something that could get it right. And unless you want to put everything on hold until you get a Wonder Woman movie just right, which is not, let's be honest, that's not possible. That is not possible. It's a matter of waiting. And that's all. Yes. Will that mean having all these other projects that aren't related, connected to Wonder Woman or an A-lister? Yes. But if it's actually something that's coming out, you need to still keep getting the stuff going. You don't want to just wait.
right. I would
So it's that balance. It's that balance.
right, and right now there definitely isn't balance because it
Right.
feels he's already pretty much confirmed that he had a timeline, and
Hmm.
obviously the creative teams or you know that he wanted to work with, of course, it's scheduling and stuff like that, and the projects aren't coming out as he thought they would, and it's kind of
Right.
like, well, yeah. So
It
again,
happens. Life shit happens. Life
right.
happens. Yeah.
But that really just shows though that he still had this idea to have his C-listers. And yeah,
Hmm.
you have Peacemaker, you have Waller, you have
Or
Creature
checkmate or
Command,
whatever they're calling it
yeah,
now.
Checkmate, Argos, you know, these type of side projects, side characters, you can have them going, of course, in development, you can
Hmm.
have them written, but again, to truly build your universe, you have to have
Hmm.
your staples,
That's true.
and I mean, for us to have to wait for a Justice League is a little,
That's true. But to be fair, we got it too fast in the other universe.
I would say that, well, that's true. However,
Mhm.
if James, he's already saying that this world is established,
Well, to a
and
point. It's like, which to be fair, I'm grateful for that because what was always my biggest problem with the Bat movies? Is they start at the beginning, which you knew. Given how slow movies come out, you're never gonna get the Tim. You'll be
yeah,
lucky if you get the Dick. You're never getting the Tim. You're never getting the Jason because it takes forever. So the best thing to do is jump with a well-established universe. However, they already exist. Yeah, it might not have been as well told as it would have been if you followed it individually, but that was never going to happen. That was always wishful thinking. The last time we had that come close was the Schumacher movie, and look how that turned out.
right. I would just say that,
Sorry if I got
um,
loud.
oh no, you're good. I would just say that if you have a already established world, and yeah, he wanted to basically trim the fat of, doing origins and stuff like that, then it- with your world building, obviously he's going to do a lot off screen,
hmm
but say
Not as
for
bad
this,
as Marvel, though, I'm sure. I don't think it's
right,
going to be as bad as Marvel with that.
for the Superman movie or just anything, I would say, I mean, have the Easter eggs planted.
hmm
And if you're if if you already have, like, say the crypto animated
hmm
show that he's going to have, crypto, like I said, he's going to be the mascot.
Yep.
Have crypto
He's going to be the
show,
Groot. I just right. He's the Groot.
right,
Baby
have,
Groot.
yeah, which is very cute. Have crypto go around and show us a little bit of, the DC universe that he's trying to build, whether
Idea.
it is, mhm,
Here's an idea. Have it be we see him fly, we see him interact with people, but we only see them at the feet. So you can have one
exactly,
there, but you just see her feet. She doesn't even have to, if you don't have a character, you don't even have a voice, but just someone pet her and we see the bracelets and pet him just to say, hey, she exists. We don't have an actor in mind yet, but we're teasing.
exactly. I would much rather have a cute, adorable patting crypto on the head than seeing Diana pierced on a
Yeah, that's
stick.
true. I will acknowledge that one. Yeah, but hey, getting back to this though, with Linda.
Hmm.
Um, but like I said, the fact of knowing she wasn't a good person, but then we just got to that last issue, we found out what Buzz said was exaggerated, saying yes, that darkness was there, but he fanned the flames, like as Supergirl put it. Linda, oh Linda, you never stood a chance. She didn't. She
Right.
really didn't.
When you have that sort of it, that insecurity, or those, like, you have that shield down from yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of weak emotionally, someone can just swoop in and manipulate you, and they find your weakness, and like a snake, they
Yeah.
can bite you.
And then
So yeah,
doing this, bringing forth people that started this, that when she knows is a horrible human being, and clearly stating someone else just as horrible.
right, yeah, so this with this exploring, morals and
Mm-hmm.
that emotional conflicts, and just trying to do the right thing and trusting people, and all of that, the complexity of relationships. This, like I said, this is how you do it.
Yep.
I don't need the over dramatics. I don't need the anticlimactic endings,
No.
um or just shock value type things. I just want a true story to invest in, and the characters feel, I wouldn't say relatable, because well, they are relatable in certain aspects, because as we've seen here, the themes are domestic violence. You have her going through,
Family
like,
disputes, things
yeah,
like
you
that.
you have her, in a sense, having, like, a mental breakdown, or
Yep.
with
Oh, oh Lord, I just know it's devil brew.
yeah,
A little
those
on
were
the
the details.
nose.
Yeah, definitely. But those type of things really put it all together. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I definitely give this a 10 out of 10, because it conveyed it in a way that, like I said, it wasn't uncomfortable, it wasn't tone deaf. It definitely just felt like a story being told, and a character that you actually want to sell and
Yeah.
want to bring in fans with.
Yep. Oh, notice this. First time we ever saw the actual height difference.
Oh wow, it's kind of like Shazam.
Yeah, it is. And notice, and yep, even the rat gets bigger, of course, as we saw. Again, that does become a bit of a gag, a bit. especially later on. There's going to be a point where, again, and I'll just say something happens where Linda's form is more the default form, but being Supergirl, and they say, you can't be Supergirl. Supergirl has a bigger rack. Stuff like that. It's like, it's funny. Nowadays, you would have people saying like, oh, that's sexist. It's like, it's a joke because they're in the world of superhero where you have people like Wonder Woman, Power Girl, and Supergirl was known for having a big rack. Now we're having someone saying she's Supergirl and her rack is, well, not bad, is nowhere near as impressive. Yeah, people are going to comment on it.
Well, I would say at least it's not the 2009 Wonder Woman movie.
Oh,
you know,
oh yeah.
that was definitely and through that whole thing, or yeah, those type of the writing, they're very uncomfortable and very sexist. But this it's just showing you the differences.
Yeah. And again, I like her parents. I really do. Even when, again, not a good introduction for her dad at first, but as we see, he is a good man. And like I said, Linda brought the worst in him.
Yeah.
As she got bad. But yeah, I think we should start wrapping up. Any final thoughts you want to give?
I just want to continue on with this now. I wish that I have a whole list of comics that I have to get to. Thanks to Jared and other recommendations. But this one, with going through this is very interesting. And I love, going through older comics because, like I said, the current ones aren't very entertaining as this, and it just it loses you very quickly.
There's an old phrase I go by, and I learned this a long time ago, and it's what's got me to the worst. Find your comic book joy. That means find anything that will bring you enjoyment, even if it's older stuff. It doesn't have to be current stuff. And I think you just found one. You just found one.
Yeah. And no, it doesn't have to be the iteration, as you said, it doesn't have to be the iteration of now. It's just whatever, whatever story arc, whatever character it can be in the iteration. And yeah, you will compare, the differences of errors, but
it goes without saying,
yeah, but I will say that now this is the type of writing is why not so much as the character name, because obviously, this isn't Kara, but the Supergirl name is why it has longevity when you have stories like this. So again, this is why I enjoy reading or knowing that there are different iterations, and it doesn't make you less of a fan. Honestly, it makes you more of a fan because you are so much more open-minded, and it just really just emphasizes on the creativity of why comic books and characters and everything exist.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Brit.
But thank you for having me.
And thanks everyone else. And we'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone.